think yesterday we were able to introduce branding in reproductive health services. And we were able to look at some of the principles, but also some of the components regarding branding. And I think we looked at some of the elements of branding, where we looked at the logos and the motto or the slogan and so forth on some of the packaging. So today we want to introduce a concept in branding called building strong brand. And in this particular lecture or in this particular concept, we want to understand and explain the concept and value of branding in marketing. Also, we want to identify the key elements and strategies of building a strong brand identity. We also intend to apply the principles and the tools of brand positioning and differentiation. We also want to evaluate the effectiveness and the performance of brand using relevant metrics. We also want to understand how to develop a brand management plan that aligns with marketing objectives and target audience. And specifically, we want to look at the brand equity in here now. So when you're referring to a brand equity, you want to understand the value of a brand in the minds of the customer and the market, but also you want to understand the difference between the price and the perceived quality of a branded product and a generic equivalent. So when you're discussing the term brand equity, you're looking at the concept of the provider, from the service provider's point of view, vis-a-vis from the point of view of the consumer. In that, you want to understand that the price or the monetary value that is attached to this particular brand is not actually exorbitant. So you may find that there are some companies where the cost of production is maybe 2, then the price of their product is 10, meaning that they are having a price difference of about 8, and that might not be equity to the customer. So it is important that you understand and calculate very well, probably your price, and you're then able to at the same time as well be able to give an equitable price to your consumers. The set of assets or liabilities that result from brand awareness, association, loyalty, and other factors are what forms brand equity. So you should be able to be aware of other brands, but also you should be able to be loyal, meaning in branding loyalty, you should be able to offer to the customers what is quality in your products. So, what are some of the core components? One is that you need to have a differential effect. Brand knowledge drives positive or negative consumer response compared to blind tests. So, the differential effect is that you need to have a very big difference with your branding. And therefore, what happens is that when you're offering a particular service to people, they should be able to know that you have a positive brand, probably that your product actually uh, gives in a faster test rate. For example, if you're doing PCR tests for COVID, it was realized that actually PCR test, there are companies that produce PCR uh, tests that are faster than the other companies. So when you're offering service, you need to have that differential effect, and it has to be positive, because then it is what drives the consumer, other than just leaving your product there and you do not have a difference about it. Then brand knowledge is another core component when you're referring to building a strong brand. And to build a strong brand, and when you're talking about brand knowledge, you're referring to the learnings, feelings, and consumer experiences with the brand over time. So people having no knowledge of your brand should be able to give you an upper hand in having a stronger brand. I've always been giving you an example of the industries of Coca-Cola, of the telecom industries of MTN. So you realize that when customers have experiences with your brand over time, it actually builds quality of your brand, and then there is knowledge about your brand. So someone will be able to say that actually when you give your child this particular kind of nutritious diet, then your child quickly develops an immunity or has a quicker development away from maybe a malnutrition case. But also, if you're offering antenatal care services, or if you're offering them reproductive health services or family planning, they should be able to understand and be knowledgeable of these brands. That when you use this brand, there's this particular effect, and it is always positive. So sometimes we have differential effects and brand knowledge regarding family planning, and that is why you may find there are some mothers who will say, I do not use this particular injectable because it does me this and that. So those are some of the issues, but you must be able to make sure that they are always positive. Then we have consumer response, and in consumer response, you're looking at the choices, recall, evaluations, and reactions to marketing efforts. And here mainly we are looking at when you're discussing consumer response, you should be able to understand what is this person's choice, but also at a random purchase in the market, does this person recall your product so easily? Or when you're offering a service, if this person moves or is in need of a particular service, how quick is this person in being very positive to going to get that particular service from you. So, what does it take to build a brand knowledge? You need to have a brand awareness, recognizing and recalling the brand in different situations. Two, you need to have recognition, confirming prior exposure when presented with the brand. Then recall, retrieving the brand from memory without prompts. Then we need a brand image, perceptions and associations held in consumer memory, benefits, then functional and symbolic, such as problem solving, social approval, attributes, then such as the product related features, designs, and non-product related, such as price, then user imagery. So this is how you're able to understand that actually your service or your product has a brand knowledge among the target group or among your consumers. For example, if people are able to recognize and recall your brand in different situations. Two, if they are able to recognize it, confirming prior exposure that someone says they have ever used this product. Two, that they can be able to recall at any time and they say, for me, I am always using iPhone. I am always using MTN. I'm always using probably this particular sanitizer. I'm always using this particular soap, and they're able to say it off head, then you know that actually people have a brand knowledge of your product. But also they should be having perceptions. What do your consumers perceive of your product in their memory? They are able to say, for me, actually, this soap is the best soap. Actually, I have ever used this soap and it did wonders for me. I've ever used this particular family planning method and it is good. I've ever done a test in this facility and it is fast. I've ever taken this particular meal and it helped my child. So those are the brand images they have. Benefits, it has solved my. That is why most times for those who are doing marketing in pharmacies, you're able to see that drug manufacturing companies, they will be able to there's Panadol, there's Retinol, there's Extradol, but all these are painkillers. However, you will be able to see that in the market, different people prefer different painkillers. Someone will say, for me, I take extra dose because after just 1 hour, I will be. Another person will say, me, I use Pyrexcam because after two or 1 hour, it works very well for me. So that is how functional your brand should be, and that is how uh, socially people should be able to approve that when you go to a certain community, they are able to say that this works best for me, this works best for me. But also they should be able to have designs of your product, that it looks like this, or you go and buy extra door and it is 2,000. They already have the price, and they already have how it looks like. They will tell you and describe for someone who has never used such a product, and be able to say, you just pay 2,000, you'll be able to get this particular medicine, and it is white in color. So there you are able to know that there is a brand knowledge of your particular product. So in attitudes, the overall evaluation of the brand, you hear that there is learned, relatively enduring, influenced behavior. Then the strength is that it is more thought invested, more vital, personal relevance. Then it is associated to convince customers. So in other words, when you're building your attributes and your attitudes, uh, the people must be having positive attitudes towards your branding. That is where, for you to be able to build attitude, then you should be able to have uniqueness in your product. So you should have a unique product that is not associated with other competitors. You must have a point of difference. Yeah, but also in favorability, or when you're explaining attitudes in an overall evaluation of the brand, when you're discussing favorability, it means that your product should be able to convince consumers that the brand meets their needs. You may not be able to, if your product for example, in your health facility, if you only do one test of malaria, then it means you're not meeting the needs of everyone. There are those who will want to come and offer, who will want to come and do a HIV test. So if you're having a reproductive health service center, you must be able to offer almost all the reproductive health services, what we call integrating of services. Because if you do not meet the needs of everyone, then there are chances that people will go to the one-stop centers. So what happens is that you should be, if you're offering a HIV counseling session, then you should be able to offer HIV testing at that health facility. You should be able to offer antenatal care services in that facility. And if you're offering antenatal care services, then it is paramount that you offer them maternal care services. So then everyone is able to get what they call a one-stop center. And that is what happens in even businesses such as supermarkets. So that where people are, they are able to have, if you went to a supermarket, it is a one-stop center. You can buy things for the children, you can buy things for the adults, you can shop food stuff. So you're able to shop everything at once, other than shopping clothes here and then you go and shop other things at another place. They may not be able to be convenient for your consumer. So what are some of the first steps to brand resonance? One, you need to have a brand identity. Two, you need to have a brand meaning. Three, you need to have brand response. Four, we need to have a brand relationship. So when you're talking about resonance, in other words, you're trying to discuss the meaningfulness of a brand. What are the steps that make your brand meaningful? So you need to have a brand identity. What is the awareness, or what are the awareness measures? What is its length? What is its depth? How long is it? How big is it? What is your identity of, or what is the shape? Is it circular? Is it rectangular? That is an identity. You can be able to see this in bottles, in cups, in even in those test kits. even in in nutritious food, packed food. So what is the brand meaning? What is its benefit? Hmm? If you put an image, what is it? What is the what does the image show? Eh? For example, if you're selling medicine, you see sometimes for those who take pylori kits, they draw there the gut, the stomach, and therefore you'll be seeing a stomach that is suffering from ulcers. Then one after taking that particular medicine, or either renal, or after someone has taken those pylori kits, you see another drawing, an image that shows that this person has healed. So those are some of the ways through which you should be able to do your imagery and have meaning. Then what is the brand response in terms of the feeling? How does someone feel? How does your consumer feel after receiving a family planning service from you? Have you offered them enough information that they go and they are able to know that this is this, I can be able to offer this and do that? Even for circumcision,
Yeah.
if you went and you're doing circumcision and you're able to, you should be able to get feedback from those who have undergone your surgical procedures. Or if someone has been able to seek for a service from you, you should be able to have what is the response, what is the brand response, how does someone feel after being able to use your particular product. Then the brand relationship resonance. What is the loyalty? What is the attachment with the community? How does this brand talk to the community? So sometimes what happens is that you have to be with the community,
Yes.
probably like
Also.
our colleague was saying the other yesterday that sometimes you need to put this in the local language. What John was saying the other day,
When you're
yesterday,
going
you need
to
to put
present
this
that
in the
message,
local language. And if you're
when
putting this in the local language, people feel there is a
are you
relationship
going to present
between
that?
your
Are you
product
going to
or
present
your
that through
service with
video
the
call, or you're
community.
going to make a
So
video?
those are some of some of the issues. But also, who do you engage?
It's okay.
Do you engage people who understand or who are known to the community? If yes, then you are building a stronger
So
brand,
you
but as
did your
well
own
the relationship
presentation that you've done.
is broader with the community.
Okay.
So we again want to look at now potential expansion. So you need to explore the role of emotions like trust, joy, nostalgia. When
See,
you're
you're very
referring
eager
to
for your next
nostalgia,
topic.
it is like a boomerang. What happens, or how after someone has used a product, the emotions that they show in building brand equity. But also you need to consider how cultural values and norms influence brand perception and
But you have
resonance. You need to
data
map
center
the
here.
touch points throughout the trip and align brand touch points accordingly. Utilize compelling storytelling to create stronger brand associations and emotional connections. But also choose the right metrics
We
to
have
track
a CS already
brand
connected.
equity. So these are some of the ways in case you want to expand your particular branding,
Excuse you.
these are the things you must be able to
For you,
consider. Uh,
evaluation as a
what stories are people telling you? Are they positive stories? Are they emotional stories? Are they stories of joy, of trust? So all those you need to explore them. So then you are able to understand how potential expansion
It's okay.
can occur. So one, in building strong brands, we want to look at consumer centricity. That, in other words, the consumer is your central interest. So brand resides in the consumer's mind. You have to focus on how they perceive your brand, not just your internal image. But also you need to invest in loyalty and relationships. The relationships we have talked about. How do you have emotional connection with the
I don't know whether
people?
you have
You need
enough
to
data.
offer them privacy when you're doing your reproductive health counseling or family planning counseling. You need to offer them privacy. You need to offer them enough time. So those are some of the loyalty and relationship issues. You need to feel empathy, not sympathy, but empathy for them, empathetic. You need to listen to them so dearly and then offer them solutions to their problem. Secondly, thirdly, you need to appeal to the hearts and the minds. Eh? You should be able to communicate to them. If someone is HIV is coming for HIV test, you should be able to positively impact on them or offer them something, information that is crucial, uh, and information that really touches their hearts. Then we talk about brand richness. In other words, we're looking
Exactly.
at
We are now moving
how
on.
people are able to utilize various elements to solidify brand meaning and values. So, how rich is your brand, to the to what people believe in? If you're offering a product, such as family planning, how is it meaningful to a certain religious sect? How is it meaningful to children of a specific age group, or to non-school going children? So those are some of the perceptions you should be able to play, and your brand should be well stipulated or well rich in those particular values of the community. Secondly, you have to have a brand resonance as a goal. Focus on the loyalty, the community, and the engagement. Understand how marketing activities impact these aspects, but also track and measure. Choose relevant metrics or measurements to assess brand equity progress. So, if you're looking at brand resonance, how reasonable is your brand? How is it loyal? How does it show loyalty? Probably you see in some people's branding, they draw there the country's flag. They draw their symbols of the community. That shows loyalty with the community. They use the local language. They draw their people who are well known, maybe a religious leader. uh, they sometimes write there. For example, in your health facility, you write there, you brand there something religious people believe about. For example, we treat God heals. Those kind of messages. Those are strong brands that show resonance, but also show loyalty and attachment to the community and the beliefs of the community. So, when you're choosing brand elements, you need to understand that they have to be memorable. They should be easy. They should be distinctive, but they should also be meaningful. That's why I'm saying, such as we treat and God heals. These are simple, these are distinctive, these are meaningful. So you should be able to choose something that is easier and that is memorable for the community. But also, it should be able to make meaning and meaning to the employer and to the consumer. But first, you also need to understand that it has to have a positive association, as we said. How often do people like it? What is the emotional attachment? Yeah? For example, with football associations, people will be telling you that we are the Red Devils. Eh? So, what is the emotional attachment people have to such a statement? It is always emotional. We are the Ghana. So sometimes this is we have the blues, so forth and on. So this is how strategic you should be. How likable is this particular brand that you're choosing? So you should be having a color that people like. You cannot just come out of the blue and have a color probably that is not associated with the community. Maybe purple. Maybe people believe that purple is for coffins and so forth, and then you make such you make your product in such a color. It may not be well received by that particular uh, group of people. Then adaptability, transferability. How consider the potential for line extension and cross-cultural appeal. How easy is it for people to transfer your product and move across different cultural backgrounds? So you understand that can your product be in this particular area, but as well also be in another particular area, because you know that, for example, here that's why the whites are a little creative. You're able to see that probably pizza and bread, these were foods that were for whites, but over time they have crossed over cultural appeals. You will find that the Africans all over are able to have such a meal. But sometimes our own foods locally that are made may not be able to have this cultural appeal, so cross-cultural appeal. You may find that there are certain people who have preferences and they never are able to adopt certain foods. So it is important to consider that particular aspect. Then when you look at the adaptability, you need to maintain the essence while updating elements to avoid becoming outdated. So you need to adapt to the current to the current trends. So you may not be able to have a very traditional brand and you expect that you will stick to that particular brand and not have an update. So sometimes in the food industries, you're able to see that people start adding something such as you saw that with Mirinda Fruity, they say they have added honey, they have made zero sugar. This is adaptability. They are able to adapt to the different uh, scenarios that the society comes with. So, fourthly, crafting brand identity elements. The brand name, the logos, the characters, the slogans, the jingles, these are what we discussed yesterday. And we discussed that you should be able to have them in a way that is attractable, that the society also is able to feel united and feel this is part of them. Then in crafting brand identity, we further looked at packaging, cultural sensitivity that you should be able to adopt to the market and your audience. But also you should be having storytelling experiences, as we discussed yesterday, that you should be able for people who have used your product, what is their storytelling experience, or what are some of the issues that they can be able to tell you as positives. What are the stories that they can tell you about this particular product? Then customer journey mapping. Align brand touch points through the customer journey. You should be able to align where did this person get my product? How far have they gone? Where is this person coming from to pick a service from me? If this person is coming far away from another particular province to come and seek antenatal care at your particular health facility, you should be able to map this kind of success story about the service that you're offering. But also you need to maintain brand consistency in your branding. You need to be able to understand that if you're maintaining quality, it should be quality all over. If it is this particular brand, it should be this particular brand all over. Not compromising your quality, but also your brand. That is why you're able to see that in the market, especially in the phone market, you're able to see that there is Techno with the C, then there is Techno with the K. There is Nokia, then someone gets another brand that is closer to Nokia. So this is common. Even it happens with the medicine. Someone can have Panadol, then have another one as Extradol. So these are similar aspects, but you must be able to maintain your quality because the market is very competitive. You will have a lot of competitors. So it is important that you keep a brand consistency. So you also need to consider the ethics. You need to ensure that you are responsible and you sustain your brand practices. So if you're doing two tests for individuals seeking health facility tests, if you're doing two tests, if you do for them RDT tests and then you do for them microscopy, you must maintain that kind of practice. If you were packing probably certain foods for nutritious purposes, if you're shaving milk and not adding water into it, you must maintain that kind of brand. However, if you do not have such ethical considerations and continuously manipulate your product, at the end, the market will definitely realize that your product is not effective in there. So we so in most times when you intend to build strong brands, there is what they call interpersonal relationships, and these are some of the uh, relationships you need to build in your society. So when we are definitely talking about the idea of involving the community, it is paramount that as well you need to understand interpersonal communication and how interpersonal relationships affect the society. So, an interpersonal relationship is a social connection or affiliation between two or more individuals. It can be brief or enduring, and it involves varying intimacy, self disclosure, and commitment. So, what is crucial is that you need to understand that when you're interacting with your society, it is very important for you as an individual or as a brand manager for you to have that interpersonal relationship with your with your client. In this regard, when you're looking at reproductive health aspects, it is important that you have a closer relationship with your client. Say this client has come for a family planning service. It is important that you understand what the client's likes are, but also what their dislikes are. You also need to understand some of the reasons as to why this client wants to seek this particular service, and therefore this particular kind of interpersonal relationship is actually what can build your brand. Mostly if you're offering services, most times when you're offering services, it is very crucial for you that you're able to build this interpersonal relationship with your clients. So there are some theories that, of course, explain how information is perceived, but also the health seeking behavior as well, but also how individuals are able uh, to 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 engage in these interpersonal relationships. And one of them is that it focuses on just excuse me a little bit here. So when you're referring to this social exchange theory, you it it is important that because the theory focuses on what we call the cost benefit analysis of relationships. This is where the individual has to understand in cost benefit. You need to understand what is what is this person what is this person perceiving vis-a-vis what does this person perceive that they will earn from going to meet you, vis-a-vis what is this person investing. So if the cost benefit analysis is positive on this person's side, then there are higher chances that this person can be able to get your service. However, if the person weighs and unfortunately he realizes that the cost benefit is is good or is bad on their side, then there are chances that this person can be able to uh, fail to turn up for your service. Say, for example, costs such as transport. If this person weighs that going to your health facility, he is still going to receive a similar service, just as uh, going to the nearby health facility, then there are chances that this person may weigh the cost and the benefit of going there to heal. Just like the health belief model, I think you were able to look at the health belief model. It explains for you people's behavior or in seeking health services. And similarly, this is what the social exchange theory also looks at. Then there's what they call the uncertainty reduction theory, which explains how individuals navigate new relationships by reducing uncertainty about each other's intentions and behaviors. And this uncertainty reduction leads to stronger bonds. So what happens is that when you're discussing this uncertainty reduction theory, what happens is that when someone is having a new relationship with an individual, the person in there makes it you always have that second thought that let me give this person a try, and therefore of giving this person a try sometimes gives them an opportunity to be able to maneuver and build a stronger bond. So what happens is that because you're offering someone a doubt, that doubt you're offering gives them room, and sometimes it leads to stronger bonds because you still don't understand whether they are uncertain, whether uh, their thoughts or their intentions are uncertain or they are certain to you. So it is upon you to be able to offer them that other room. And this most times happens when you're trying a new product. You see, you say today, let me try this particular product. So as an intention of trying to try this new product, what happens is that you may fall in love with this product at the end. eh? At the end, you realize that this product is actually one of the products that you intended to use, or it actually meets your desire. So from that particular time, you will continuously use that product because it rhymes with it rhymes with your intentions, or it rhymes with your needs. So I think I've had a very good rap, and probably we would want to listen to some of the additions, or whether we have any other additions you would want to have regarding what we have discussed. Most times, if we have very long discussions, sometimes it becomes monotonous, and the mere fact that you don't only depend on notes that are offered to you here, you are having other ideas on what we are actually discussing. So, like you made comments yesterday, I'm also requesting that in this particular lecture, you also make comments regarding what I have presented so that we have it as an interactive session. Then we are able to have this interaction continuously. So, up to where I have reached for today, do we have any other comments regarding what we have discussed? Yes, Joseph.
that become this lazy to perform certain activities, and this could be due to different factors, or these factors are linked.
Uh,
That's why
I think everything seemed to
these
be clear. That's why
decisions
everyone is
is
quiet.
focusing
Thank you so much. It's really a very nice presentation.
cause, and these causes are one, genetic causes or genetic diseases.
Yes, Joseph,
These
please make your
genetic
comment.
diseases result inherited genetic mutations or abnormalities which may pass to parents or offspring. Of course, genetics and genetic diseases are those
Yeah, thank
uh,
you very much.
VIII
I think the lecture has been interesting, and
one of the determining factors
the
that
speed is somehow high, at least for the next lecture.